Welcome, everyone. This is the Heroes Podcast. The next episode, I have a special guest, Carla Jansen van Rosendaal. How are you?
I'm fine, Andre. Thank you. I'm doing fine. With the rain and everything, I'm still happy. Yes.
I'm working on that pronunciation. I hope you will be able to correct me or anyone. And before we go into the interview, I want to introduce you so people know who they are meeting with. Carla is an international stress reduction coach. She works with successful parenting entrepreneurs to create a life full of success, happiness, and relaxation. She leverages quantum technology within her coaching to create deeper results faster. As a burnout expert, she knows what it is to be overstressed and the impact of burnout on our business relationships and health. Carla understands that we can change our world and its energy by reducing our stress. By doing this, we become an example of our kids, and they will be the creators of our future, of our humanity and our world. I love this. Is almost like a mission statement here.
It is. And people need to know that. People really need to know that.
So Carla, tell me the beginning. How did you start off on this journey? Tell us. The bad and the ugly.
The bad and the ugly. Well, I don't see anything as ugly anymore because everything is a lesson, even though it might not feel great, but it's always a lesson to grow even more and have a better life. But how did it start for me to become a stress reduction coach? Well, I have to go back like 20 years where I just got my second kid and I thought I had a real happy family now. But 2 months later, it shattered. That dream shattered all because another kid was born and it had the same father. So we ended up divorcing. And I definitely lost my trust in humanity and people, in, well, a lot of things. And I started fighting to be there for my kids. And I started my educations. I got help with that. And then a couple of years, I was going all the time. And I just never really sat down and let things sink in. And by doing that, I eventually got into a burnout. And then I got into a second burnout. And every time the family doctor said, like, take it easy. Well, do you know how that is for a single mom with 2 kids who need extra attention to take it easy? Not going to happen, of course. So I ended up in my third burnout, and being a bioenergetic therapist as well, that is a psychoanalysis therapist working with the body as well. I just knew I had to do more than just take it easy. And that's where heart coherence came on my path. And I took it very serious, very serious. I decided now I have to take time to do something about that. Because a lot of times we take so many reasons that we do not have the time. But I took it serious, and 3 times a day for half an hour, I sat down and did my exercises. And believe it or not, Andrea, but within 1.5 months, I completely was out of a burnout that had been there for years and years. And I was kind of like, come on, how is that possible? I'm also a nurse, and so physically and mentally I knew a lot, but how could this happen? It usually takes 1 to 2 years. So I started doing the education for heart coherence, and I figured out how easy it is to get and stay out of stress, and also how much influence stress has on really our total life. My relationships with my kids, I even came at one point and that still touches me always, that I wanted to kill myself and my kids, like there's no future. So I knew it has so much influence. So why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why not do something easy? Heart coherence is really easy to stay out of that situation, that possibility. So that's where I started my practice, being a burnout coach. And during doing that, I came along the Being in Balance scan, which is quantum technology, to go even much, much deeper to find out how the energy in the body is. Is there stress? And how is it influencing the body, the emotions, the psychological stuff? So, well, that's basically short my story, how I came to do this. And I trained about 7,000 people in stress. And the main factor is people do not realize they have stress. Like I did, I just had all these reasons. Nah, I'm okay. I can handle it. I don't feel it. Well, yeah, we don't feel it anymore nowadays. So that's why it's my mission to, well, you said it's almost a nice, by going around for the kids and for the future of our world, we need to start doing this for our kids. Be the example as a parent, as a grown-up for kids, for adolescents. I hardly can say that word, because stress is all over the place nowadays, especially after COVID. So worldwide, we need to do something about that, to change the energy, the frequencies, the way people go around with each other. Well, I guess you can see why it's my mission.
It's a very deep story to, yeah, go as far as the edge. And I would say it's always the most extreme level of hopelessness and depression when one is considering self-harm.
Yep.
What would you say is happening to a lot of people these days? Are they so conditioned, maybe from their up generation, or they started to repress and deny the existence of stress? What is your take?
I think it's really a combination of things. What we can see in the scan is how much influence our DNA beliefs already have. We are born with like 30,000 different beliefs, and a lot of them are positive, but also a lot of them are not positive and influencing our life. I mean, we live from 90% unconscious beliefs. That's our doing, our thinking, our behavior, everything. And so that's one point. We have all these unconscious beliefs that we're not even aware of, and they really cause a lot of stress. The other thing is that nowadays in the world, we have to be there all the time. Social media, our phones, our work, pressure, all, everywhere. And especially the kids that are growing up with phones and social media, they're never off. I mean, their mind is never off, they're always on. And so that is taking a lot of pressure. Then our foods and EMFs are really big time putting stress on our body that we are not aware of. Then COVID, where, I mean, how many people were in anxiety? Something could happen. I mean, the whole energy on the world was anxiety, and anxiety is a huge stressor. So, and then the thing is that we get used to high levels of stress. You could say we are adrenaline addicted, and we just simply don't feel it. There are several reasons for that. We don't feel stress. And so that's a big one. And then another reason is, who wants to admit he's stressed out? Because then people think you're weak, you can't handle it, you're stupid, you're dumb. Well, all these, well, things that we put in our head put on that. So a lot of reasons why stress is really up, really high, and we don't admit, we don't feel, we don't realize, so we don't do anything about it. So worldwide, it's just growing and growing and growing, and burnouts are everywhere. I mean, it's not only adults anymore, it's kids. I mean, I see so many kids around me, adolescent, well, the young grown-ups, let's say it that way, an easier way for me to say it. Burnouts are everywhere. So
it's interesting how you've put it, and it made me wonder if people are just want to fit into this fast-paced world of videos and distractions and shopping and look good to be loved, because at the bottom maybe they just want attention and love, and they would do anything to do what it takes, and
yep.
they would even repress their own needs. Do you want to expand on this? I don't know how this idea came.
Well, a lot of times we're not even aware of our needs. If I look at the scan, how many unconscious beliefs are there that are about not loving ourselves enough, taking care of other people instead of ourselves, not connected to our emotions, to how we feel, not daring to take space in this world. So you're not gonna show yourself the way you are. And then, yeah, we want to fit in, we want to be there for everybody, because otherwise we might have this feeling we are not loved enough. So there's also for that so many reasons. We are not connected with ourselves anymore. We are not connected to our heart, our body. Mentally, we are more into work, make sure we do it right, so people can say like, hey, you're doing okay, you're doing great. Self-worth, self-confidence, we don't have it enough anymore, so we try to get it from around us. And that's why we do anything to get that, to get from somebody who says like, hey, you're great, you're okay. We can't feel it ourselves anymore.
Would you say that need for external approval, because that's what you said, is like, I think I have, and I want your views about this. I think the population, about 70–80%, never felt good enough in their life, or at the core they have this I can't cope or I can't be enough type of patterns. Would you say it's the number that you have or you see? And the other side of the question, would you say it's probably from their moms and dads who felt the same, or just the environment that they were born into started to condition them to not feel good enough?
Yeah, also that's a combination. We get like from 7 generations above us, we get the stuff from them, and it's programmed on our DNA. And then when we are in the belly of our mom, those 9 months, we are so connected that everything she feels, thinks, says, as a baby, you take it all in as it's from you. So you start living that, and you just don't know it. You're not aware of it. Most people are not aware when the scan is there that it's that way, that they are not so self-confident that as they think, or that they're shouting even more like, hey, I am great, but underneath it's actually like this. And I've seen it with my own son, that when he was really small, he was like he was a gorilla, but in the meantime he was so scared. So we overdo it in the other way. And yes, I really believe that it's more than 80% that of people that are not having that self-worth, that self-trust, that self-love. I think it's at least 80%.
Wow. what I hear from you is that probably that small child was trying to overcompensate to
And a lot of people do that.
almost like in the animal kingdom. That's, I think there's this really old psychology in every one of us to then mask the lack of self-worth, the lack of confidence. The loudest person in the room has probably the biggest need to be loved and to be seen or to be noticed or to be congratulated to. So what is the solution? And I'm talking about big picture.
I think if we simply would start reducing stress, because when we are in a stress reaction, which we usually are around at least 90% of the day and night, the 24 hours, we are in a stress reaction. This is just simple research from the HeartMath Institute in the USA. And what happens with our brain when we are in a stress reaction, we go into the survival mode. And in the survival mode, we have stress hormones. They're at the top. And then we have like cortisol, that's one of them, which gives and it has to do with that. The cortisol itself makes you more anxious. And it has to, because in a stress reaction from earlier days, when we were there was a life or death situation, we needed to be fearful, we needed to be mad, angry, irritated, frustrated, because that would really bring us to fight or flight. But nowadays, I mean, there's actually hardly happening anything. We are in that same stress reaction. So we are fearful. So we get in this vicious circle of not feeling great and then having these hormones which make that even worse. And what happens at the same time is that because adrenaline is formed, our brain is not getting enough blood. So it's not functioning right. We cannot think in solutions. We cannot creatively thinking. Excuse my English, it's not always the right way, but you get the message. And so we go straight away also into our old beliefs. So even if you're working on yourself and you know I have to do like this positive thinking and you're kind of getting there, as soon as you're in a stress reaction, bam, you're going back in your old beliefs. And you have to work to change that around. You have to daily do something about that. Train your brain to think differently. And it starts all with cutting down on stress, because that's what brings up that situation.
And of course, that stress is created from the inside. I was just talking to someone last night, and she's been battling with herself for the last 20 years to release these old versions of herself, which is this not good enough pattern, not ever feeling safe.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you help people? How do you reduce stress when they show up at your virtual door?
Yeah, when I show up my virtual door, first thing I do is that scan. So we know within like half an hour, exactly. I mean, this is quantum technology. People hardly can believe it, but once they're in it, they can see it's really about them. It's from a distance, it's worldwide. I can do it from here, from my room. But it's really brings me right away, like, hey, how is the stress situation, the energy balance in the whole body up to DNA level? Where it's out of balance, I connect that, well, the scan connects that to what beliefs out of which time of your life are responsible for that. So, and it's amazing, and people recognize it. They don't know it from themselves to tell, but once you talk about it, because there's it's a 2 hour session, most of it is the coaching and to go into deep into what we see in the scan. And then they start recognizing it. From recognizing what belief is there from the scan, we can do some stuff. We have binaural beats. I can change their energy from the scan. But, right away, like, hey, what belief do I need to change? So where do I need to work at? And a lot of times those are beliefs they would never have thought about. Then I start with the heart coherence, because that is, that's visible. That's a great thing. It's a stress reduction method, which is visible on a screen. You see exactly what you're doing when you do the exercises. How is the stress level influenced by the exercise? Are you having enough focus? Are you having that not? Do you need to change something about that? So, and then we get into a combination of stress reduction and changing mindset, changing those beliefs around. And believe me, reducing stress helps tremendously to change those beliefs around easier. Most people go to psychologists, therapists, and those people are okay, great, they're doing great work. But if we are still stressed, we hardly can change beliefs, because we keep being in that circle. Like you said, this lady, 20 years, I hear that a lot of times. They go to coaches, to therapists, but nobody works at stress, specific stress reduction. So they keep busy in that circle. They don't get out of there. And what I see, as soon as stress is really, really reduced, that's where change really sets in. And then if you even can work straight at the core of the problem, you can do that from the beginning. You don't have to search for it. You see it right there. You start working with that. That's where change can be there within, well, really fast, like 1-2 months. Within 2 weeks, they start feeling change already, if they do the work, of course.
I love that approach. Yeah, I relate to what you say, because I think when they feel safe, eventually, finally, to have that big release, then they can see what the real problem is, not trying to fix things on the surface. And in her case, it's just wanted to share this, that she ended up in confusion about what to do. Literally running in circles, stepping one step forward, stepping one step back, and she's not getting the results that she's looking for. And unfortunately, when this comes to a business or a solopreneur, it's not about showing up at a workplace and picking up the paycheck. At that point, it's something to resolve, or the business is going down and probably their life is about to collapse. Have you seen examples as well that you want to share?
Yeah, I've seen really a lot of bad examples from that. That's where they are so busy surviving their business that they forget everything else. And that is really having so much influence on their relationship, on the relationship with their spouse, with their kids. I was talking to my dentist lately, and he said, like, if I had to do my life over again, I would change one thing. And I was kind of like, what's that? I would stop working that hard. I missed actually the growing up of my kids. I missed so much fun from my wife and my kids. So he decided to retire early so he can catch up whatever he could catch up. But I hear that a lot. I hear that so much, that relationships are really under pressure. They are not there. They might be physically there, but they are not there. There's no connection. They don't see the kids or their spouse. They don't feel their kids. They don't have time, or things have to go quick. They have no clue what's going on in the life of the other person. And besides that, their health. I mean, every disease is stress related. Every disease. They figured that out worldwide already. And so, yes, having your own business and being sick all the time, don't have the energy to do it, don't have the creativity to be there, not having the focus, not being happy because at home things are not working well. How much influence does that have in your business, you think? Tremendously.
This is profound. I really want to highlight this. This is what we've heard here. Every disease is stress related. And it sounds right to me. When you said fathers and moms are not around, I had goosebumps. I've been through this. I was not the parent I always wanted to be. And I realized I'm not just running after the money or keeping the family safe, because that was the story I was telling to myself, but I'm creating more problems because I'm not nurturing my children. I'm not around that their little mind will make decisions or they analyze the situation differently. They wouldn't see dad as, the hero, the breadwinner. All they see is that he was not around. Probably I was not important enough, or I wasn't worthy. And we're back to self-worth. Do you want to share your views about this toxic topic?
Well, basically one thing, we need to be aware, to start being aware of this. I was basically lucky that I had to be on disability welfare, how do you call that? I stayed in it. I had 2 kids who needed extra attention. They had the autism disorder. And I decided, for not having much money, but be there for my kids. And everybody was kind of like, oh, you need to work and blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like, I'm following my intuition. And luckily, I had my education being a therapist. So I just stand at my ground, and I had to fight with schools, with family, with friends, with my ex-husband. And I was kind of like, who cares? My kids are the most important. That touches me. And I'm glad. I'm really, and this is from happiness. I am glad I did it like that. I could give them what they needed. And I figured out, because when I started my own business 12 years ago, I struggled because the more I started working, the more problems my kids started to have, because I wasn't there. And I could see that luckily really, really very fast, because of my education and because of my knowledge and because of my intuition. And then I just stopped my business again, so I could be there. And I'm not saying people need to stop their business, but they need to, what I figured out, if you can work with your stress and your own old beliefs, and you can change those around, and you can figure out how to be in great energy, great connection with yourself and the people around you, your family, your spouse, your kids, but also other relationships, then you are able to run a successful business. It's all about the balance between a private life and a business life. But you need to work for that. You need to take time for that to get there. And that is talking about commitment. And people don't want to do that too much. They don't want to be committed to work at themselves. So and I think that has to do with being so disconnected in this world nowadays. We're all so disconnected with ourselves, so we don't feel it, we don't realize it. So it's not even a fault, it's a not knowing.
Awareness.
Awareness, it's all about awareness. So be aware it's there. Stress is there. It's influencing your life, whether you want to know it or not. Look in the mirror, look at your life. Is it really happening the way you want it to be? Are your relationships what they are? Are you successful, but are you not having great relationships at all? Or having great health? Then something is nagging in there. And please be aware and look deeper.
Yeah, but some people are just buying time for another day, another year, another decade. I think you touched on something very, very important to realize, and I realized even the social security at times is set up in a way that people can rush back to do the work. I remember, and I don't know how it is in your country. I remember I lived in New Zealand and Australia, and some moms, after having a birth, they run back to work after 6 to 12 weeks. They have this so-called maternity leave. I mean, it's not even a tiny window for them to recover energetically, whereas I'm now locked in from Hungary, where we are, offering 2 years to 3 years to an opportunity to bond with the child, because that, I believe, is the map for the rest of their life. Yes, there is 50% salary. I think it's at 2 years, and then it drops even more. But there is a way where people are not sort of fired and they still go back to work. It creates a lot of problems for employees, you can imagine. But this way to rush back and forget motherhood and forget what's important is exactly telling me lack of awareness.
Yes. Yeah, people don't know that the first 4 years of a child set basically how they go around with the rest of their life. Those first 4 years are so important to create happy kids, self-confidence. How do you call that? Kids with self-confidence. I mean, that's where we do it. And if we are not there.
Yeah, and I wasn't there. I have to say, before my transformation, I was not there, and it took me years and years of work to restore the relationship with my first son. So,
but you did it.
Hopefully I did it. Life will tell me, his life.
Yeah.
His life will be the proof.
Yeah, but you're still an example at this age and the age of your kids. You're still an example. So if you change things around, you are the example for your kids to do the same thing. So yes, you still can do a lot about that.
Listen to this. If you're listening to us now, if you become an inspiring example, maybe even if you screwed it up before, that could be a powerful example enough for you to install, to set a new example in your family. It's not what you're trying to teach or say. It's who you are and how you live your life. Do you agree?
Totally, 100%. Kids and people around us copy. So if we are a great person to be copied, how nice is that? We just have to work on it to be that great person. And you know all about that. I mean, that's how your story is there, and you change things around. And now you're going through Europe with your kids. Be there all the time. I mean, that's what a great example is that.
Yeah, not many people not seeing that. They seeing me
True.
not sending my kids to school. And they were explaining to me in the last few weeks that I am setting them up for failure.
Don't
Well,
listen. Like I didn't listen to all those people. And I see my kids, and kids have their own challenges. What they need most is somebody who's there and who believes in them and helps them out. And that's what you and your wife are doing. And that's what more people do. And that's what whoever doesn't do that still is able to do.
so Carla, tell us, if things go well in the next 5 years for you, what would you want to celebrate?
I would want to celebrate, and that always touches me, that I have achieved that together with other coaches or influencing people who have influence, that we have projects around the world to start heart coherence with even pregnant people, pregnant women, because so much influence on their kids already. And then in preschool up till university, that there's heart coherence. And how people can change their own mind around, so that we have projects there, and that we, with so many people together, we can start changing our world. Simply because we are changing mindset, starting with these little kids who are our future, and then all have profit from that.
Would you say, we go back to, I almost want to say that taking care of themselves first, because that's what it is. It's self-love, to be coherent, to
Yes,
feel safe. And sometimes love needs to be from the ultimate source, from self, could then set up a new generation to come, new awareness, a
definitely.
new revolution.
And I think not only a new generation, but definitely a new world with a different frequency and a different way of going around with each other.
Well, that is deep. So how do we find out about your business? Have you got a website? We'll put everything under the video, but if you want to tell us, then I would love you to share it.
Yeah, how do they find me? Well, on social media under my name, Carla Jansen van Rosendaal. So type that in and you'll find me there. And I have a website. It's life-mindcreation.com, because I think we can change our life by changing our mind. And then we can create whatever we want.
That's amazing, especially that you bring in, I think what a lot of people requires is this science, because I think science has these two faces these days. Sometimes there's certain things that they want to sell to the population, and then there's a science created behind it to justify why people need it. But then there is real science where it's actually for the good of the people, for people to thrive or be healthy, rather than the old energies of, well, we are here to fix your sickness or illness. How do you see yourself as, and the tools that you have in the next few years, the next few decades to come?
Well, I'm a regular person, and I keep growing using my own technologies, which makes it possible for me to go deep, to go on a deeper level, to be honest, to look in the mirror. and to clean up. And I really believe we clean up the rest of our life. It just gets easier and more fun to do it. And so I see myself growing, I just started to go worldwide with my work. And I really see that it's going to take place, that the scan, which is only known the way we use it in the Netherlands yet, we are pioneers. The Dutch people are pioneers, and we did that with this as well. And I think it's going to be a huge success. Bruce Lipton, I don't know if you know Bruce Lipton.
Of course.
About epigenetics. He said he had the scan, not from me, but from my trainer. And he said, like, thanks for being imbalanced, because it needs to go worldwide because it can heal the world. And that made us realize we need to go worldwide. So I think 5 years from now, it's more international known, and that there are more people educated to do this. So we can start healing the world. And I'm part of that. And I'm just, feeling very happy if I see that in front of me, that I can be a huge part of that.
So Carla, what would you say to someone who is stressed, maybe has anxiety, listening to this podcast, and what are the 3-5 things that you would want to share with this person to start taking action towards a new outcome, a new version of their life?
I would say don't stop with going around in circles. Take action by seeking help outside. And start with stress reduction, because that is half the work of all the other psychological work. And mindset change. Get clear what your beliefs are as far as you know. I mean, in the scan, we can see it. You don't even have to think about it. But of course, that's not everywhere, but seek somebody who can help you out with getting your beliefs clear, and then work with mindset to change them around, because it is possible. Yes, you do have to do the work. Yes, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. But what you get back from that is so much bigger than you ever could dream of. So yeah, that's what I would say. Seek help. Reduce stress, change your mindset by getting to know your beliefs. And if you want to know if you need help or if you need to change, just look how your life is now. Where are you not completely happy with whatever is in your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, your financial status, your emotional status, your work? Doesn't matter. So many spiritually, I mean, so many places you can look at. Am I happy with that? And start, another tip is like, ask yourself more times a day, how do I feel? Simply to get back in touch with feeling. And then take 1 minute, close your eyes then, go with all your attention to your heart and breathe slowly and a little bit deeper. Just do that like 6 times a day, and it will help you already tremendously.
Wonderful, wonderful tips. When you were sharing this, in my mind, I have seen you, or me, have at the controls at times for people who are, on these spinning wheels in the entertainment parks.
Okay.
To bring them down from the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And eventually slow down and stop.
There you go.
And then look what they had been doing up to that point.
Yes, definitely.
Ask the question, is this serving you?
It's serving me big time. I do this, and I mean, I'm human, okay? I'm a regular person, and I have my moments that I forget to do these things. And I know within like 1-2 weeks that I'm not doing it. So, I mean, we can say like, oh, I did stress reduction and I did that, so I'm not done for the rest of my life. Well, it's not, sorry. Stress is there all the time. Look around you, feel around you, EMFs, food, everything. It's there always. You need to do the rest of your life. You need to be aware of stress and reduce it. It only takes 15 minutes a day. Come on, 24 hours are in a day. 15 minutes a day, eventually. In the start, it will be more, but eventually. And you can keep your life great. So, yeah. But like I said, I have my times I forget it. And then, bang, I get it back. And I start doing it again, and I'm okay again.
And if you're not doing it, probably your life will let you know in bigger and bigger and bigger impacts or failures,
Definitely.
pain and struggle. So I think we agree that there's no easy way out.
Nope. Like 3 years ago, it was so far. I mean, I have been in there for like, I think more than a year, and I tried it and I tried it and I didn't work out, didn't do it the right way. And I didn't listen too well to everything in myself. And I just fell off a ladder and shattered both legs. So the universe was telling me like, sit down, sit down and take time. So yeah, grateful for that. But yeah, so life will give you back, whatever way it will give you back when you don't do it.
What a wonderful conversation it was. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything before we wrap up that you wanted to say about this topic, or to get through to these new levels of existence for people that they must know before we finish?
Well, what they must know is that it is there. Just be more aware. It starts with that. When you're aware, you start doing something about it. And the other thing I want to say, Andre, is thank you so much for having me here and being able to bring this out to more people on this world, and that you do that, you bring that out. I mean, I'm very grateful for you as well. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And the revolution has started. If you're listening to this, it's already happening. Awareness is spreading, and there will be a new kind of species, and there will be more and more and more. So
yes,
be part of it. Follow Carla's pages, follow my pages, because this is what we talk about pretty much all day. I believe we have dedicated our lives to bring out new outcomes for humanity.
And
Thanks
let's
very
do
much.
it all. Yep. Thank you so much. Bye.